Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. Today I wanted to talk about this. Finding your inner strength. Alright, so get to that in a minute. Another beautiful day towards the tail end of summer. People are making fun of me that I'm doing the weather report, which is fine. So relax your body so that you can breathe comfortably. If you're in a relaxed body, your brain has no choice but to perceive that you're okay. It's a nice, easy, simple, uncomplicated way to send a message of safety to the brain. It's not a solution in and of itself, but it can certainly help. And if you're in a panic, it's a good place to go. Relax your body so that you can breathe more slowly, more fully. Don't have those shoulders up around the earlobes. All right, so finding your inner strength, right? That's your can-do attitude. That's the I can do more. I'm going to make it. Your inner strength. You know, there's a lot of speak about this stuff in athletics. You know, there's marathoners who say, oh yeah, about mile 20 I hit the wall. But I found it in me, and I kept going, and I crossed the finish line, right? They find that extra gear, that extra, I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep on going. And really, when I talk about inner strength, I'm talking about not giving up, not falling into despair so deep that you can't dig yourself out. Inner strength is your ability to say, reality sucks right now. The symptoms are hard, they're brutal, they suck. But it's easier to find that inner strength and shift into that extra gear when you actually know what's going on and you make a commitment that this is what's happening with you, right? Foundationally, we stand on that. With a weak foundation, if you don't know what's causing the symptoms, or you don't think that applies to you because you still think you're sick or you're broken, it's really hard to find that extra gear. Because when you think you're sick and broken and you haven't got any success with the medical establishment, it's hard to find that hope, and it's hard to find that, well, I'm going to keep going. Keep going for what? If you think you're sick and broken, keep going to what? More doctors? Right. So, foundationally, folks, understand that the brain is turning on symptoms in the vast majority of cases. If you want to know about your case, do the assessments again. isthisTMS.com. Do both assessments, the pain test, the FIT assessment. Take the FIT assessment once per symptom. Understand what's going on. But once you understand the cause of the symptoms, the brain perceiving danger, and you've done the assessments, then you'll be able to say, well, the brain's perceiving danger incorrectly, so it's operating on misinformation, bad data, internet research, doctors' misdiagnoses, bad things people have said to you, things you've researched, things you've said about or to yourself. Misinformation and fear is what keeps symptoms going. Fear and attention is what keeps symptoms going. But with that foundation that you can stand on, know that there's a solution. And know that you're capable of it. That's the key. And the capacity and the capability of continuing on with this journey, that's where I'm talking about. Find your inner strength. You can do this. Find your inner strength. Shift into that extra gear so that you can keep going even when everything rationally and logically says, I give up. And I will tell you this, throughout my 13 years, I knew about Sarno for 12 years. And I don't say that to scare anybody, to cause them to think that their journey is going to be 13 years long. It won't, because you know more than I did during my journey. If you watch 3 or 4 of my videos, you'll have more insight and knowledge about how to get out of symptoms than I did in my 13 years. I had to figure this shit out on my own. Made every mistake possible. And so, foundationally, know what's going on. Decide that you can do this. But during my 13 years, there was plenty of times where I was just like, tired of trying, stopped trying, kind of lived with it, still suffered. Life didn't get easier when I quit. But I kept coming back to Sarno. I kept coming back to the mind-body syndrome, the mind-body reason for my symptoms. I still held fast to the fact I didn't think my body was broken. Sarno did a great job of convincing me of that. But I was still making mistakes. I was still focusing on it, talking about it. I was the back pain guy. I made every mistake known to man. And I would talk to my brain. I'd think psychologically. I'd reject the physical. I would stop the physical treatments. But then when it would hurt, I would do physical treatments. I'd use heat. I'd use ice, especially if I had a flare-up. I did a lot of things wrong, which is why it took me so darn long. But I didn't have the cheat sheet. You want a cheat sheet? dansfaststart.com. There's a series of videos there that are the core videos out of my library of a couple thousand that I think if you just study those over and over again, you're going to get everything you need to get better. And if you want direct help from me, join the group coaching program. painfreeyougroup.com. And there you will get the help directly from me. I spend 12 hours a week on Zoom talking to people like you, helping you with the implementation, safety strategies, reassuring you that you're on the right path, you're going to get better, and helping people course correct and do this work. It's not easy. So if you want some support, come get it. 12 hours a week, I'm on Zoom. Come talk to me, right? And, but I made every mistake. I quit lots of times. But I kept coming back to Sarno because it was the only thing that made sense. This mind-body reason for symptoms was the only thing that made sense to me. And it was the only thing that really offered me hope. Because there was no way I was going for surgery or injections or any of that crap, because I was blessed. I was able to wholesale accept Sarno was right. I'm not broken. Didn't get me better though, right? So for anybody out there who's saying, Dan, I know what's going on, how come I still hurt? Because the knowledge alone isn't the solution. Conveying credible evidence that I'm safe and I'm okay and I'm not broken in enough volume to outweigh the brain's perception of danger, that is the solution. So I'm going to really encourage you to find that inner strength. Think back to something you've done that was hard. And there was probably a time when you were thinking back at it and going, I can't do this. But you stuck with it. You did not quit. And sure enough, you accomplished something hard. Yes, this is hard. Somebody in the group today said, this is the hardest thing ever. Yeah, I get it. But, you can do it. Yes, this is challenging, but you can handle it. I'm going to tell you a quick story that came today, because I mentioned this concept of inner strength today, and one of my group members talked about finding inner strength in the middle of chaos. And not to trigger anybody, but this person was driving windy 2-lane roads, and somehow somebody cut her off, pushed her off the road, whatever. She went off the embankment and tumbled down the hill. And I know that's a horrific thing to tell. If it triggers you, hit stop, don't watch. But she tumbled down the hill, and when the car finally came to a rest, she realized, holy cow, I'm down the embankment, nobody will be able to see me. And she had to summon the inner strength to somehow get herself out of that car and climb up the embankment. And she had sandals on, so she climbed up barefoot. And she was injured, for sure. She didn't detail in the group call exactly what her injuries were, but she found the inner strength in that time to say, I got to get out of this car and make it up the embankment to the road. And she did. And this is a, late 60s woman. And she found the inner strength to yank herself out of that car and climb the hill barefoot and get to the road where she could get help, an ambulance, and go to the hospital. And she was 2 weeks out of that experience. And she's sitting on the couch on the group coaching call telling this story. And look, I'm a believer that somebody up above was looking out for her. But she had to pull herself out of that car. She found the strength to do it even though she was hurt and had just tumbled down a hillside. So, we all have a lot more in us than we give ourselves credit for. If you are feeling like you're at the bottom of the barrel and you've got nothing left, I can assure you, with some grit, determination, find that inner strength. You can crank it up to another gear and keep going. Athletes find that extra gear and that inner strength all the time. Marathon runners all the time. Cyclists all the time. Just when you feel like you're out of steam, if you look, you can summons that inner strength. But the key is just making a commitment to yourself. No matter how down I feel, this is the only thing that makes sense. So darn it, I'm not going to quit. I can do this and I will do this. Just watch me. Just watch me. And look at yourself in the mirror. Say, I can do this. I will do this. Just watch me. And look at yourself and say that in the mirror. You want some inner strength? You got to pull it out of yourself. Nobody's going to hand it to you. Yeah, it's nice to get some support from myself, the group coaching, the Facebook communities, all that kind of stuff. But if you want some more grit and determination, that's for you to muster up and pull out of yourself. It's in there. I guarantee it's in there. And some of the greatest success stories are the people who were down the darkest, deepest holes, found that inner strength, pulled themselves out, kept going, kept on tweaking and adjusting and learning and adjusting, getting better and better at freaking out less, reassuring more, responding calmly to symptoms, shifting focus to living life, feeling emotions, not believing our own stinking thinking. Little by little, with that grit, the determination, that inner strength, the I'm never going to quit mindset, you're going to get better. Speaking of mindset, watch yesterday's video. The symptoms are the last things to go. And that whole video was about mindset. And that's what this video is about. Finding that inner strength is not about muscles. It's about mindset. It's about not quitting. And it's about convincing yourself you can do this more than you let your fear brain tell you can't. So find that inner strength. I can assure you it's in there. Don't quit on yourself. There's too much life to live. And I will tell you, life after chronic pain is fabulous. Been chronic pain-free for 14 years. But during my 13 years of symptoms, boy, it was rough. It was really rough. But I'll tell you what, you can do it too. Don't quit. Find that inner strength. Shift into that higher gear, that extra gear. And if you notice and you pay attention to your inner dialogue, if your inner dialogue says, I can't, I can't, I can't, you're going to have a tough time. You got to switch. Find that inner strength. Convey, I can, I will. Darn it, I'm not going to quit. Because I'm capable. This is possible for me. Lots of people have gotten better from deep, dark places. And I can assure you, if you don't quit, keep on learning, keep on getting back up, you will too. you absolutely will too. So I'm here to support you. PainFreeUGroup.com. 12 hours a week. I'm here to hang out with you, answer questions, cheer you on, encourage you, give you strategies, give you strength. You can do this though. So, love you, and as always, folks, I'll see you tomorrow. Promise. Take care.